so today's episode is called, what is it called? How to make people like you. All right. Up until a week ago, I realized that no one really likes me as much as I thought they did. I have two best friends and they are pretty quiet when it comes to socializing. I thought that everyone in the class liked me because we all smiled, laughed, went to parties together, but when we had to play sports or games that involved teams, I was always picked last. My two best friends get picked before me. One of them is always grumpy and the other is quiet, but I still love them. I just don't know why people like them more than me. They were always quiet when we sat in groups and talked, and I know for sure that I hadn't done anything wrong. How can I get my class to like me more, or at least not get picked last in the game? It is pretty embarrassing because I always thought that I was friends with everyone, and when you sit there with confidence and then get picked last, it is pretty humiliating. I know I shouldn't be worrying about this, but I am the type of person who worries about everything, and if one thing is bugging me, then it's on my mind 24/7. What should I do to make people like me more? Should I just stay quiet like my best friends? Is it because I talk a lot? I hope you give me advice on this. All right, so I have a few pieces of advice on this. The first one, I'm just gonna get this out because this is the most basic, and the first one is you have to know, first off, not everyone is going to like you, okay? So even if you're, and I've said this before in a video, like even if you're the nicest, most loving, kind, caring, giving person on the planet, or you're the rudest, meanest, angriest, you're, horrible person on the planet, the same amount of people are going to like you and hate you. Does that make sense? Because it's just, the percentages are probably gonna be the same, because if you're a crazy person, there's probably gonna be other crazy people that like you and agree with what you're doing. And if you're a nice person, there's gonna be people that like, oh, you just rub them the wrong way, or they just don't like you. Like, you can't have everybody like you. Now, that being said, it is a little harder in school. There are things that you can do to kind of attract people to you, but I found sometimes in school, like in high school age groups, like in that age range, sometimes even these like tips that I'm gonna give you don't necessarily work, because people are still trying to get, like, they're growing up. They're not necessarily the person they're gonna be. They're still immature, they're still young. But I'm gonna go ahead and give you my tips as to how, what I do and what I've applied in my life to, make more friends. But like I said, making people like you, I mean, not everyone is gonna like you. I have had my fair share of people that have really hated me. I have been in that situation. It was actually a work environment where I loved everyone. I thought like, yeah, this is the dream job, we're all friends. And then literally one day at work, my boss told me that multiple people had filed complaints against me. They made up complete lies. They were saying the most horrible things about me, and I found out that the pile of complaints filed against me was so large that corporate had to fly out to deal with it. So that was a very pivotal point in my life where I realized, I was like, wow, like, you really can't, like, not everybody's gonna like you. And I even went up to people and I asked them, I said, did I do something to you? Can I make this better? Like, I apologize if I ever hurt you. And I don't even think any of them gave me a reason. I don't think any of them said anything. It's just sometimes people don't like you. Now, that also being said, in the letter you said that you know for a fact you didn't do anything. You may want to clarify that with the person, because oftentimes, especially if you're a strong personality like myself, you may think, oh, I didn't do anything to offend them. But you might want to ask them. Now, if this may be something they may bring to your attention that you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize I did that, and then you can apologize and move past some things. Or like I said, not everyone likes you. They may have been offended by something that you're like, are you kidding me? And you can choose to move forward and apologize and say, I'm sorry that offended you. I don't know, you pick your crowds, you know what I mean? So, okay, this is really long and this is probably going to be edited. Like I was gonna say, things you can do to attract people, potentially gain friends, all that stuff. One thing is to try to be more interested in them as opposed to trying to be interesting. Like, I feel like a lot of people spend a lot of time like trying to appear interesting and cool, but if you just like realize that everybody only cares about themselves, that's just like the truth. If we all only care about ourselves, you trying to appear interesting isn't going to be interesting to them. You know what I mean? But if you're showing interest in them, well, if everyone's favorite topic is themselves, and all of a sudden someone's showing interest to me, like, oh my gosh, that person's interested in me, they're going to be interested in you. That may sound bad, whatever, that's the truth. So actually, that's probably the biggest tip I can give you, is be interested in other people as opposed to trying to be interesting. I know you're a talker like me, that's what you said, I talk a lot, but I have gotten good with friends as like listening too. I can talk someone's freaking ear off, but I can also listen. And I often, with friends, I'll open conversations with like, tell me everything, what's going on, I'm listening. Like that's how I'll open it, because you have to be a listener as a friend as well. I think that's probably, you know, the biggest thing. I mean, you may want to look at yourself and see like, do I need to tone it down a little at school? Am I tooting my own horn a little bit too much? You know, am I doing these things? But if not, and you really feel like, no, I'm not, then try A, showing more interest in other people, caring about other people, as opposed to trying to appear to be interesting, like I said. And then 3, if none of those things work, like I said, just kind of ride out high school. I mean, I wasn't very super popular. And like I said, I was in a work situation where nothing I did was going to change their mind. They didn't like me, they had their minds made up, and that was kind of it. And it was a good lesson, like, to learn that not everybody likes you. You know what I mean? Think about like the president. I don't know what country you're from, but like no matter what stance you take, the polls for like people who approve of you in the States is almost always very close to the 50-50 line. It just doesn't matter what you do. Like, that's just life. So this was a really long answer. It's just, you know, I hope I kind of gave you some answers, and that's it. So, all right, guys, you can send your messages to this inbox on YouTube. I am on Facebook and Twitter, and that is about it. So I will see you next time. Okay, bye.